The calm he once knew is gone.
The neighbors have disturbed the peace.
She no longer feels safe either.
I'm not afraid, certainly not panic-stricken, but sometimes I feel uneasy.
And she encounters more and more soldiers on her way to work.
The situation has changed. Now they're on 6-month rotation.
Lithuanian Birutė Krakasuskina, Estonian Ave Ungro, and Latvian Andžejs Pepkevich live in the Baltics, on the border with Russia. If Putin attacked NATO, their countries would likely be the first targets. How did these 3 Baltic residents cope? Andžejs Petkevich and his helpers are harvesting the season's last potatoes. The farmer grows vegetables on an area the size of 400 soccer fields. Most of the inhabitants of tranquil Indra in eastern Latvia earn their living from farming.
I like the peace and quiet here. The people are nice and the surroundings are beautiful. It's a great place, and I never want to leave.
But the scene is deceptive. Just a few kilometers from Indra, these concrete blocks are a reminder of Andžejs Petkevich's aggressive neighbors. Indra is only 5 kilometers from the border with Belarus, Russia's closest ally in the war against Ukraine. The tensions are palpable here in Latvia, too.
We used to live here in peace, without problems. We never felt aggression from our neighbors, and there weren't as many soldiers and border guards as there are now. But now the border is being reinforced everywhere. And when a helicopter suddenly appears, we know that migrants are trying to get into Latvia again.
Illegally. Tens of thousands in the last 3 years, despite increased border controls. Western intelligence agencies have warned that Moscow is purposely sending migrants from Afghanistan and African countries to the EU via Belarus, with the aim of destabilizing Europe. Human smuggling is one of the tools the Kremlin uses in its so-called hybrid war against the West. It worries Andžejs.
Of course I'm worried. Who knows what else the Russians might come up with? What part of the world they still need to finally be satisfied? That's why I'm concerned about the future. And that's why I support strengthening the borders, so I can feel at least a little bit safer.
And feel safe harvesting the last potatoes. Some of them may end up in Birutė Krakasuskina's deep fryer. The trained teacher has been running a kebab shop in neighboring Lithuania for 4 years. The recipe is simple. Bread filled with chicken, cucumber, lettuce, and tomatoes. But Birutė's success is due to a special ingredient.
The secret to my kebabs is love. I really enjoy making them. The other secret is fresh ingredients. We only buy fresh meat and vegetables, nothing frozen. And my kebabs are also popular because the portions are big.
Birutė's kebabs are especially popular with military customers, whose base is across the street from her shop in Rukla, Lithuania. A Baltic NATO member, Lithuania borders Belarus to the east and south, and the Russian exclave of Kaliningrad to the west. Rukla, once a small Soviet garrison town, is now the Lithuanian army's largest military base. It also hosts a multinational combat unit with soldiers from several NATO countries.
If war breaks out, things will get really messy here. This military base would be one of the enemy's top targets. On the other hand, we've got someone right on our doorstep to defend us. And as far as my business goes, Lithuanian and foreign soldiers are already our best customers.
Germany plays a special role in Lithuania. The German armed forces have been leading the multinational combat unit here since 2017 and plan to station an entire brigade here by 2027. 5,000 troops to defend Lithuania alongside other NATO partners.
Of course, we can't rule out war anymore. We talk to the soldiers all the time. We want them to support us, encourage us, and tell us that war will never break out here. But as the saying goes, if you want peace, you have to prepare for war. Our family has already drawn up an escape plan. If we have to flee, we'll think about going to where my parents live.
NATO, however, is not thinking about fleeing. It plans to send even more soldiers to Lithuania. This carriage is bringing more visitors to Estonia, specifically to Hiiumaa Island off the Estonian coast. Once a year, the island holds its festival for young and old alike. Ave Ungro has come here with her daughter. She loves this festival, but she's not quite as carefree as she once was.
Life here will probably never be the way we once knew it. On the surface, many things are continuing as they always have, but the underlying feeling has changed, and that's also affected me personally.
For Moscow, the Estonian island of Hiiumaa in the Baltic Sea is strategically important. Because Russian ships pass by it on their way to and from St. Petersburg and the Russian exclave of Kaliningrad. This could pose a grave risk for Estonia. That's why 44-year-old Ave Ungro decided to do something for her family and country. 3 years ago, the speech therapist joined the Naiskodukaitse, the Estonian Women's Home Guard, or NKK. The NKK was founded in 1927, banned during the Soviet era, and revived after Estonia gained independence in 1991. The women now form part of the Kaitse Elite, the voluntary Estonian Defense League. In the event of a war with Russia, armed and well-trained civilians would be able to reinforce Estonia's regular armed forces.
I held a weapon during my military training, but I never fired a shot, strange as that may sound. I'll probably focus more on preparing and conducting evacuations in the future. I'm not a fighter by nature.
But these NATO soldiers would fight to defend Estonia if Russia attacked. During NATO exercises, the armies prepare for exactly that. But right now, it is mainly acts of sabotage that endanger security. Russian fighter jets violate NATO airspace repeatedly. Russia is also suspected of jamming the navigation systems of Western aircraft. In April this year, 2 Finnish planes had to turn back after disappearing from radar. Western intelligence assumes these incidents are being coordinated from the Russian exclave of Kaliningrad, where Moscow is also believed to be storing nuclear-capable missiles.
Hi, want some potatoes? How many? 5 sacks?
Latvian farmer Andrzejs Petkovic has other things on his mind than war and peace.
That'll be 25 euros, please.
5 мешочки получается.
The harvest sale is starting in Indra, near the border with Belarus. And that's not all. Andrzejs wants to open a brewery here soon to attract more tourists to Indra in the future, despite the hostile neighbors to the east.
I believe that we will live in peace here in Latvia. When I think about the future, I try not to focus on the negative. That only makes it harder to move forward.
Lithuanian Birutė Krakasuskina says that her future lies with her 2 daughters, Lucrezia and Luisa. And of course with her kebab shop in the army town of Rukla. But today there are no kebabs at home, but pancakes instead. The girls only get them once they've done their homework. Can the family really imagine war breaking out here one day?
Of course, we're afraid of that. And that's why I wish for peace more than anything else. Not just here in Lithuania, but everywhere. And for my girls to be able to travel freely and meet other people without discrimination. Just kindness, peace, and goodwill. Right? Give me a high five.
Estonian Ave Ungro also believes in the future. Despite all the dangers from Russia, she says she would never leave her island.
Hiiumaa is a special place because it's just so beautiful and peaceful. And that's how it should stay.
Her daughter and her friend applaud in agreement. They can't imagine living anywhere but here in the Baltics, a region whose need for protection from its aggressive neighbor to the east has never been greater.